All right, so let's talk about the opposite of ostrich marketing and what your customers, and again, your recruits, what they really want to know about. Now, here's what we have found. This is what science has told us, that there's essentially 5 subjects that we, as, let's say, consumers, that we tend to research before we make any major purchasing decision. Now, when I say major purchasing decision, this could be for something that doesn't cost much, or this could be something that costs millions and millions of dollars. Fundamentally, it doesn't change at all. So these 5 subjects that we're obsessed with as buyers, that we always want to research, especially online. So I want you to think for a second, what are some of the things that you always tend to research before you make a major purchase decision? Can you think of a few? My guess is you can. So I'll go ahead and tell you what these big 5 are right now. So the first one, the major one, of course, and it probably came to your mind very quickly, is cost, or price, or rates, or, as a recruit might say, is salary. So the numbers, we'll just call it cost. Cost is number 1. So as buyers, we love to understand how much something costs and all the variables that come with it. So that's number 1 of the big 5. Number 2 of the big 5 is problems. You say, problems? What do you mean by problems, Marcus? Well, think about all the times you've gone online and you've researched what was wrong with something, like a negative review, an issue with. You see, what's interesting is when we get very serious about buying something, or let's say a recruit gets serious about potentially looking for an interview with a company, we tend to look for what are the negative experiences others have had, or the negative things that are said about that particular thing. So it's only when we're serious about buying something do we tend to research that which is wrong with it. It's quite fascinating. So that's problems. So we love to research problems, negatives, issues, etc. So that's number 2. So we've got cost, we've got problems. Number 3, we love to compare stuff online. Comparisons versus. Think about how many times you've gone online and you've compared 2 or 3 things together. And of course, we know why we do that, because we love to feel like we're getting the best price, we've done our due diligence, we've really vetted accordingly. So that's number 3. Number 4, we love to research reviews. We're obsessed with reviews. We're a review-driven society. And finally, number 5, we love to research the best. Think about how many times you've gone to Google and you've typed in the word best plus a particular phrase, or most. We love to research this because once we feel like we understand the best, or the least, or the most, we then feel like we can quantify, we can understand, and again, we can ascertain the value of that particular thing that we're looking at. So cost, problems, comparisons, reviews, and best. These are the big 5. Now here's what's so fascinating, and you'll get this very quickly. As someone that is leading your business, you'll understand, which is this. As buyers, as customers, we love to research these things. As businesses, guess what? That's right. We don't like to talk about them. And because we don't talk about them, inevitably what happens? Yeah, we lose trust in the process. And so the question is, how do we talk about these things? Now you might be thinking to yourself, well, Marcus, I definitely, we talk about, we at least mention prices in the heavy civil space. No, it's a lot more than that. So stay with me here because more is involved. And again, we're going to look at this from a recruiting aspect as well. We must be willing to talk about these 5 subjects. In fact, here's what we find. If you want to become that thought leader, that trust leader of your space, more than 70% of the content on your website right now should relate directly or indirectly to those 5 subjects. But my guess is, if we did an audit on all the content, the messaging that's on your site right now, if we looked at it and we said, what percentage of it related to these 5 things, we would find that it was less than 10%. But again, your peers are just like that too. So imagine what would happen if you started to talk about these things, if you started to teach about these things openly, transparently, honestly. What would that mean to your business? Yeah, it would change a whole bunch. That's the big 5. Now we're going to look at how you can address each one of those 5 major subjects.